Well, hi, I'm Dr. Tom Ulrich, and I like to talk about leadership in engineering. Hey, in this quick video, I want to talk about the concept of management by exception. Now, this is a term we use to describe managers whose way of going about things is just kind of looking for trouble, looking for problems, is sort of ready to pounce. Now, there's two types of management by exception. There's active and passive, and sort of management by exception. Passive is like if you're sitting there and kind of being generally unengaged with your group, and then you see an error and you just start, really reacting poorly. And the other one is management by exception, active, and that's kind of where you're going around viewing yourself as, your goal here is, to nitpick and to find problems. And let me tell you, there's a non-technical term for management by exception, and it's this: jerk. Let me give you some clues here. So if you're the kind of manager that's you're kind of going around just pretty much, how you communicate with your team is basically about their mistakes. Your employees hate you. There's a clue for you. This is a technique known to be ineffective. The thing about it is it makes the manager feel like they're contributing. And here's the way you kind of know it's going bad. So there are rules of social engagement. So you would, if you treat your spouse that way, here's a little prediction. I'm going to predict the future. Ready for it? Okay, you're going to be divorced very soon. Okay, you would never. Hopefully, you would not treat your spouse that way. I mean, I know some people do, and they end up divorced, and okay, it all works out. If you treat your kids that way, guess what? They're going to be on one of these talk shows someday talking about how horrible of a parent you are. I mean, that's simply not how you deal with human beings. I mean, as a general rule of thumb, with every human being you deal with, keep it to say you're saying about 10 positive things for every negative thing you say. I mean, that's just kind of, roughly speaking. Certainly in a marriage, boy, it better be at least 10 to 1. So here's what happens. Here's one of the things. Jean Lippman-Blumen wrote an important book called The Allure of Toxic Leaders, kind of an analysis of toxic leaders. And you know just what I mean. When I say toxic leaders, the way she defines it is, a leader who causes harm to their followers, his or her followers. And, one of the things that is sort of central to being a toxic leader is the belief that some situation suspends the normal rules of society. So, you would never behave that way with your children or your wife, but you now you're a leader, so all of a sudden you feel like you can be a jerk. You would never be super rude and demand people and but we're having an audit, so all the rules are suspended. Now I can be an absolute jerk. I mean, so the bottom line is, as a manager, we've got to get out of this mode that my circumstance justifies me being a jerk. Okay, in no situation do you want to be a jerk. And if you're looking as a leader to get the benefits of modern leadership paradigms, the higher productivity, the greater commitment, the higher employee retention, that's something that's just simply got to go. And so, what do we do then? Well, but I have to point out mistakes. Well, okay, maybe, but here's the difference. When I see managers with this mind frame, there's a certain amount of glee, and they found a mistake, and it sort of makes them puffed up. I mean, if you're correcting somebody and you're feeling a little bit of euphoria, okay, dude, you are messed up. Okay, that should never be. When you're giving somebody some negative feedback, which, yeah, that is part of the job, there should be some humility. There should be some conscience, some very profound sense of, yeah, I've made that mistake too, or think about how you felt. You're thinking about how you would feel in the same situation. You're doing it with humility. And how about this? How about if you lead with questions instead of, like maybe there's something they were thinking about. I mean, I'm aware of a manager in a nonprofit organization who is probably as bad of a management by exception leaders have ever seen, and this leader seems to be energized when they have a chance to point fingers and so on. And when you talk to the people this person does it to, it's inevitably, but they weren't thinking about, they didn't have the whole picture. They were just running their mouth, So if you think there's an error, maybe start by asking questions. Well, what did you do? What, and making it your goal to show grace. So when you're talking, always being mindful that, boy, that would really suck to be on the other side of this conversation, and really trying to make it not an attack, but some feedback. There is a difference, just telling them they're lazy, they're just attacking. Okay, there's no place you should do that. There should be some awareness that you are trying to help. We're trying to build into things, and let me tell you. If you go back and talk to everybody who's ever worked for me, they'll be like, yeah, he does that. Well, I absolutely did that. There have been some times, and let me tell you, when I started the PhD program, there was a lot of things that I did routinely and came to realize, oh my gosh, I'm a jerk. So, one way I sometimes describe my dissertation, where I looked at the impact of leader emotions on software testers, is I actually have signed, and I did it, I took the data at Tandem, so a lot of these people work for me. I have absolute scientific proof that I'm a jerk. Everybody else can only wonder, but I know for sure that I'm a jerk. So if you say, well, you've done that, I have, and let me tell you, one of the underlying ideas of the engineering leadership guy is I'm not telling you, hey, I'm great, be like me. I'm telling you, please don't be like me. Please don't make the mistakes. I mean, I'm trying to help the next guy to realize these mistakes that I had to learn kind of over time in the hard way. And let me tell you, learn it early, learn it soon, learn it now. That management by exception and believing you can suspend the rules of civility and all these things, okay, that is not how you get a committed workforce. So at any rate, some tough medicine. The truth is what's been modeled for us engineers by and large is management by exception, and what we perceive as normal is management by exception, and what we seem to think is we can suspend the rules of civility, and all those things are false. At any rate, sorry about that. I know that probably stings a bit, but sometimes you really got to hear the medicine. It's a lot better hearing it from me, who you don't know, than from hearing from someone like your boss who you do know. At any rate, hey, if you like this video, or even if you don't, there's more videos on tomulrichconsulting.com. If you're on YouTube, I think you can just search on Dr. Tom Ulrich. That seems to work also. But thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.